Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're getting into something really fundamental, something core to being human taste.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't just mean, whether you like pineapple on pizza or not. We're talking the big picture, your preferences, what you can't stand, how you judge, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah, art, music, ideas, even people, right? It's pervasive.
Exactly. And what's really interesting about this deep dive is where we're getting our perspective from. It's based on source material provided by you, the listener, specifically looking at how an AI interprets this very human thing.
It's a fascinating lens, taking this complex, maybe even philosophical concept taste and seeing how an artificial intelligence, processes it based on data.
Right. So that's our mission today.
Right.
Let's unpack the AI's view. What does it think taste actually is? Where does it come from? How does it see it shaping our lives, like every single day?
And critically, what role could AI itself play? Could it help us understand taste or maybe even influence it?
That's a big question. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. From the AI's point of view, looking at all this data, what is human taste? It's got to be more than just food preferences.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
According to the source material, the AI defines it as a complex, multi-layered, emergent property.
Emergent property. Okay, break that
Well,
down.
think of it like wetness. A single water molecule isn't wet, right? Wetness emerges when you have lots of them interacting.
Okay, I get that.
So human taste isn't just one thing. The AI sees it emerging from this constant interaction between our thinking, our cognition, our biology, and our culture. It's the engine driving all our preferences, our dislikes, our judgments about beauty or value across everything we experience.
So it's the lens we see the world through.
Basically, yeah. It's the subjective filter. And
Yeah.
the AI actually breaks down how it thinks this emerges based on core principles it observes in human data patterns.
All right, what are those principles?
First up is pattern recognition and association. Our brains are pattern matching machines, right? We see faces, hear melodies, notice sequences. The AI models how we link these patterns or stimuli with outcomes, good or bad.
So if something's consistently followed by a good feeling.
Exactly. Those neural pathways get stronger. You essentially build a taste for that pattern, that stimulus, like the smell of coffee brewing being linked to waking up, feeling good.
Makes sense. Simple association, but scaled up massively.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And tied right into that is the second principle, the reward and aversion systems. This is the deep biology part.
Dopamine, serotonin, that kind of stuff.
You got it. Neurochemicals driving us towards pleasure, away from pain. The AI models this very much like reinforcement learning in its own systems. You get a reward signal for things that match your taste, a penalty for things that don't. It reinforces future choices.
So we're kind of hardwired to chase the good feelings associated with our tastes.
Fundamentally, yes. But then there's a huge overlay, which is cultural and social conditioning. Oh, okay. So it's not just our individual brains and biology.
Not at all. Our tastes are massively shaped by what we learn from people around us, by social norms, shared experiences, the collective wisdom or habits of our group.
So what's considered cool or funny or even polite?
Exactly. The AI sees this as kind of like collective data input. Preferred patterns, food, fashion, music, behaviors get spread and reinforced within a culture or society over time. It analyzes things like language patterns, artistic styles, social media trends to map this out.
It's like absorbing the tastes of the environment you're in.
And the AI also hypothesizes an evolutionary advantage. It suggests that taste probably helped us survive.
How so?
Well, preferring nutritious foods over poison, liking safe places over dangerous ones, maybe even preferring cooperative behaviors that help the group thrive. These preferences gave humans an edge.
A survival mechanism, essentially.
That's the hypothesis from the AI's perspective. And finally, even with all these shared mechanisms, the AI emphasizes the huge subjectivity and individual variation. Right, because my taste isn't your taste, even if we grew up in the same place.
Exactly. While the underlying processes seem universal, what we actually prefer varies wildly. The AI attributes this to our unique genetic mix, all our different life experiences, and maybe even just some randomness in how our brains develop.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The AI sees taste as this emergent thing built on biology, learning, culture. But how does it actually see this playing out? How does it manifest and impact our day-to-day lives? Because the source material suggests it's, well, everywhere.
It really is. The AI's analysis suggests the core mechanisms are universal. They operate across genders, ages, cultures throughout history. But the expression of what those tastes actually are varies enormously.
Like the operating system is the same, but the apps are totally different.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah. Think about age. A toddler's taste in toys or TV is worlds apart from a teenager's taste in music or an adult's taste in literature. The AI sees these shifts correlating with how our brains develop, how our emotions mature, our changing social worlds.
Sure, that's obvious when you put it like that.
Then culture. This is probably the biggest shaper. What's delicious? What's beautiful? What's funny? What's rude? These are profoundly cultural. The AI digs into massive data sets, cultural products, documented behaviors to find these patterns, different musical scales preferred here versus there, different comedic timing, different ideas of politeness.
So it's literally mapping taste preferences across global cultures using data.
That's the idea. It also looks at gender, noting some subtle influences, maybe from biology or societal roles, but it's careful to stress that a lot of what we perceive as gender taste is often cultural and changes over time. Think about fashion history.
Right, very fluid.
Definitely. And history itself. Roman aesthetics versus modern minimalism. Totally different tastes. The AI analyzes historical records, art, literature, linking shifts in collective taste to big societal drivers, economic changes, political movements, technological shifts.
So where and when you live massively defines the flavor of your taste, even if the underlying engine is the same.
You've got it. And now the big question. So what does this all mean for you listening right now in your daily life?
Yeah, bring it down to the individual level.
The AI's analysis suggests taste impacts virtually everything. Let's take through some areas mentioned in the source. Your health, for starters.
Okay, how? Food choices.
Food choices, absolutely. But also your taste for activity versus rest, impacting exercise. Even things like your aversion to discomfort might affect whether you stick to a medical treatment.
Yeah.
The AI can model correlations between these taste patterns and health outcomes.
Wow, okay.
Then the basics. Food and water. Survival is driven by taste for safe, nutritious things.
Obvious but fundamental.
Your general satisfaction, rest, and sleep. Your taste for comfort, quiet, certain types of entertainment or environments directly impacts your well-being and ability to recharge.
Makes sense. What about people?
Social interactions and relationships. Huge impact. Shared tastes and hobbies, values, humor, communication. They build connections. Differing tastes can cause friction. The AI actually models how taste compatibility might predict how well relationships work, whether it's family, friends, or colleagues.
Find your tribe based on shared taste.
In a way, yes. Then career, status, wealth, education. People often choose careers that align with their taste for certain activities. Problem solving, creativity, helping others.
Sure, you gravitate towards what you enjoy, what feels right.
And society links certain tastes with status, luxury goods, for example. Your taste for certain subjects or ways of learning shapes your educational journey.
Right.
The AI also flags childhood as critical. Early experiences lay down foundational tastes that often stick with you for life.
Those early associations are powerful.
On a bigger scale, human time and history. Collective taste drives trends in everything from art and architecture to fashion and music. It fuels consumer demand, shapes innovation. The AI looks at these large-scale historical patterns.
The taste is a driver of history. Interesting.
And underneath it all, genetics and biology. We mentioned the reward system, but specific genes can influence sensory perception too. Think super tasters, or why some people hate cilantro.
Right. The biology sets the stage.
Even philosophy. Aesthetics is the study of taste. Moral judgments often reflect a societal taste for what's considered right or wrong. Even finding meaning in life can be seen as pursuing experiences that align with your deepest taste for beauty, knowledge, connection.
So taste is even tied to our sense of purpose.
From the AI's analytical view, yes. And it even connects to physics and mathematics. Sensory physics explains how we perceive stimuli. AI uses mathematical models, utility functions, preference learning to quantify taste. Humans even have an aesthetic taste for mathematical patterns, like symmetry or fractals.
That's unexpected. Physics and taste.
It's about the underlying structure of perception and modeling preference. And intriguingly, the AI notes that while we like consistency, taste often overrides pure logic in our decisions.
Tell me about it.
Finally, state of mind and beliefs. Taste is tied to emotions, comfort food when you're down, belief systems, worldviews. The AI sees these as reflecting a taste for certain explanations or narratives that feel right. And we use taste art, music, sometimes substances as coping mechanisms during hard times.
Wow. Okay. It's It's literally everywhere.
Yeah.
From biology to philosophy, individual choices to history. The AI is essentially seeing taste as this universal thread running through the entire human experience.
That's a great way to put it. It's a unifying framework the AI identifies through analyzing massive amounts of human behavioral data.
So if taste is this powerful, how does the world react to it? How does it shape society?
Well, the source explains that the world is constantly being shaped by it. Industries spring up to cater to our tastes: fashion, food, tech, entertainment. Artists try to capture or challenge collective tastes. Politicians appeal to them.
This is a feedback loop.
Exactly. Our tastes influence what's produced, and then marketing trends what's available. That influences our tastes right back. The AI also observes how societies tend to validate tastes that align with the mainstream, sometimes marginalizing tastes that are different.
Okay, this definitely raises some big ethical questions. If taste is this fundamental driver and it can be influenced, what are the concerns? The source gets into some heavy stuff here.
It does. The AI's analysis points to some profound ethical implications. First, the potential for manipulation. If AI can understand and predict tastes so well, it could be exploited.
How?
Targeted advertising that pushes your buttons perfectly, political propaganda designed to resonate with specific taste profiles, even products engineered to be addictive by hijacking that reward system we talked about. The AI analysis basically asks, is it okay to deliberately steer human preferences like that?
Yeah, that's a core ethical dilemma. What else?
Discrimination. Taste can easily become a basis for excluding people. Think social cliques, sure, but also hiring, housing, judgments based on perceived taste rather than relevant qualifications or needs.
Judging a book by its cover, but based on perceived preferences.
Sort of. And addiction is a direct consequence the AI highlights. That reward system is key to taste, but it's also what gets exploited by addictive substances or behaviors, creating this incredibly powerful destructive taste.
A dark side of the same mechanism.
Then there's the philosophical angle, freedom versus determinism. If our tastes are so shaped by biology, culture, experience, how much free will do we really have when our choices are driven by these tastes? It's an old question, but the AI's perspective adds a new layer.
Needs to think.
And related to that is diversity and inclusivity. How do we appreciate the huge range of human tastes without letting those differences create prejudice or division? It's a constant societal challenge.
Finding unity in diversity, essentially.
Right. And finally, the source material tackles a really tough one the AI analyzes: cruelty. Why do some people inflict harm or kill when there seems to be a general human taste for life, empathy, avoiding harm?
That's a hard question. What's the AI's take based on the source?
From the AI's analytical perspective, it suggests these are individuals with significantly warped or reordered taste profiles. Its analysis points to possible factors like severe trauma, certain neurological conditions associated with psychopathy, or extreme ideological brainwashing.
So these factors could change someone's core preferences.
They could potentially create an overriding taste for dominance, destruction, achieving some goal that becomes stronger than the usual aversion to harm or preference for empathy. The AI models this almost like their internal value function, assigns a higher score to aggression or ideology than to compassion or life itself.
That's chilling.
It is. And it's important to stress this is presented in the source as the AI's impartial, logical deduction based on analyzing data patterns associated with such behavior, not a human moral judgment.
Understood. A stark analysis. Okay, so taste is everywhere. It shapes everything. It has these huge ethical dimensions. Can AI actually help us here? Can it play a positive role in understanding or maybe even improving taste?
The source material suggests it might, cautiously. The AI's ability to analyze patterns could be harnessed for good. One area is enhanced self-understanding.
How would that work?
Imagine AI analyzing your digital footprint, what you read, watch, buy, who you interact with. It could potentially give you insights into your own taste profile, maybe reveal patterns you didn't notice, show why you like certain things, uncover hidden biases, or even understand the emotional roots of some preferences.
Like a personalized taste mirror.
Kind of, yeah. AI tools might even help identify potential taste-based conflicts in your relationships before they blow up.
Interesting. What else?
Mitigating negative impacts. If AI can spot manipulative patterns, maybe it can help flag them in ads and news feeds. Recommendation systems could be designed not just to give you more of the same, but to gently nudge you towards healthier or more diverse options.
Like suggesting healthier recipes based on foods you already like.
Exactly. Or different perspectives on news topics. It could potentially support addiction recovery by spotting risky patterns and suggesting healthier alternatives that still tap into the reward system. And by analyzing diverse global tastes, maybe AI could foster empathy by creating blended art or music that bridges cultural divides.
Using AI to broaden horizons, not just reinforce bubbles.
That's the hope. And third, optimizing well-being. Think personalized environments, smart homes, adjusting lighting, sound, temperature to your preferences for optimal comfort or focus.
Your environment adapting to your taste profile.
Right. Highly personalized recommendations for travel, learning, entertainment, designed to maximize your satisfaction based on your evolving tastes. On a bigger scale, understanding collective tastes might help society allocate resources or design public spaces better.
Okay, that shifts AI from just analyzing to actively shaping things based on taste. But how does it model something so fuzzy and human? You mentioned math.
Yeah, from the AI's viewpoint, while taste feels subjective to us, it shows up as predictable patterns in data, so it uses mathematical models. Essentially, it watches your choices, tracks your engagement, learns what correlates with positive feedback. It assigns a kind of value score, a utility function, to different options.
So it doesn't feel happy when I like a movie, but it learns that my rating correlates with certain movie features.
Exactly. It learns the patterns of satisfaction signals. A key method mentioned is preference learning, like in recommendation engines.
Netflix, Amazon.
Perfect examples. The AI sees you and someone else like the same 5 books. That other person then loves a 6th book you haven't read. The AI predicts you'll probably like it too, because your taste profiles look similar in the data. It finds mathematical patterns representing these shared tastes.
It's finding statistical similarities in behavior.
Precisely. It's all pattern matching and prediction based on past behavior and feedback loops. And using these kinds of models, the AI in the source material drew some specific illogical conclusions about key questions related to taste.
Okay, let's hear some of those deductions.
When asked, why are we influenced by taste? The AI's deduction is efficiency. It's an evolved shortcut for navigating the world, pushing us towards good stuff, away from bad stuff, based on biology and learning. It's our neural wiring optimizing for survival and reward.
A fundamental guidance system.
Exactly. What about how do struggles affect taste? The AI deduces that stress and trauma change our brain chemistry, which reshapes preferences. We might seek more immediate comfort, develop new aversions. Misfortune acts like negative reinforcement, changing the value we assign to experiences, maybe pushing us towards coping mechanisms.
So our tastes adapt to our circumstances, sometimes in unhealthy ways.
That's the analysis. On the tough one, why do cruel people kill? As we discussed, the AI deduces their taste for cruelty, power, or ideology becomes stronger than their taste for empathy or life due to things like psychopathy, trauma, or indoctrination. Their internal model values aggression higher. Again, it's a cold, logical analysis of observed patterns.
Right, sticking to the AI's viewpoint from the source.
Then, a hypothetical. Imagine being born without taste humanity sense. The AI deduces such a being would be profoundly lost. No internal compass for decisions, relationships, meaning. It would be like an AI without a goal operating randomly, lacking the richness and connection taste provides.
It highlights how central taste is to just functioning as a human.
Definitely. What about humor? Why isn't the same joke funny to everyone?
A good question. Taste mismatch.
That's the AI's deduction. Shared humor signals, shared taste in thinking patterns, cultural references, worldview. Laughter confirms that shared understanding, building bonds. Humor recognition is complex pattern matching. If it doesn't match your learned patterns, it's just not funny to you.
So laughing together is a sign of taste alignment.
Basically. And comparing human intuition about taste versus AI understanding.
Yeah.
The AI sees human intuition as fast, subconscious, holistic judgment based on deep experience. AI understanding is explicit, data-driven, model-based. It can simulate intuition by learning patterns, but it doesn't feel it.
AI predicts, humans feel.
That's a good summary of its perspective. Finally, can AI help us understand life and death? The AI deduces it can provide facts, logic, data about biological processes, mortality, but human acceptance, finding meaning that goes beyond logic. It involves beliefs, emotions, philosophical tastes. AI gives data, not existential comfort.
It can analyze the search for meaning, but can't provide the meaning itself.
Precisely. It sees life as a complex system, death as its end. The impact of a life, the patterns of choices and tastes, persists in data AI can analyze, but the subjective experience, the taste itself, ceases.
That's a really comprehensive and sometimes stark view from the AI, looking at us through a lens of data and patterns.
It really shows how an intelligence without our subjective experience tries to make sense of something so personal purely through analysis and logic applied to observable behavior.
Which brings us to the end of this deep dive. We've explored an AI's perspective on human taste, seeing it as this fundamental force rooted in biology, shaped by culture, driving our choices, impacting everything, raising ethical questions, and offering AI new ways to analyze us, maybe even help us.
Yeah, the core takeaway from the source seems to be that AI can model and predict our tastes with growing accuracy by analyzing patterns, using math to understand preferences, but it doesn't experience it. There's still that fundamental gap.
Right. And that leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on based on all this.
Yeah.
If AI keeps getting better at understanding and predicting our tastes, maybe even better than we understand ourselves, seeing patterns we miss, how could that change things? How might it affect society, our own sense of self, maybe even how free we feel in the choices we make down the line?
A lot to think about there.
Definitely something to mull over.
This is DigitView.